Hi, my name is Abel, and I'm a cloud developer advocate specializing in DevOps. Today, we're going to look at creating and customizing CI/CD pipelines for Node.js using VSTS into Azure. Now, everyone knows VSTS is great for .NET in the Microsoft stack. But that's not all. VSTS is for any language, targeting any platform. And VSTS is the ultimate DevOps solution into Azure. In this video, we're going to use the Azure DevOps project for a Node.js app, where with just a couple of clicks, I'm able to go from nothing at all into a full end-to-end DevOps project. And by that, I mean a team project in VSTS, code for a sample project checked into Git, a build and release pipeline for the sample project, and infrastructure up in Azure. And when it's all done, the sample app is even automatically built and deployed into that infrastructure. Let's go check it out. To create a DevOps project in Azure, we first start in the Azure portal. And what we need to do is let's go ahead and create a new resource. And the resource that we're going to create is a DevOps project. Now, the next thing it's going to do is it's going to ask us what language do we want to use. Now, for this demo, we're going to create an app using Node. And let's click Next. Next, it's going to ask us which framework do we want to use, Express.js, Sales.js, or a simple Node.js app. For this demo, let's go ahead and choose Simple Node. I'll go ahead and click on Next. And then now it's going to ask us what infrastructure do you want. Do you want to use this web app for containers and using a Linux container, or do you want to use app service? For this demo, let's go ahead and create a Linux container. And we'll click Next. Now it's going to ask us what instance of Visual Studio Team Services do you want to use? Do you want to use something completely new, or do you want to use one that already exists? Now, I'm going to go ahead and use an existing one, and I'm going to use my demo VSTS instance. So here we go. Here's my demo instance. Let's give this project a name. So we'll call this Able Node Demo. And instead of deploying this to South Central, since I live on the West Coast, let's go ahead and deploy this to the West. Now I'll click on Done, and bam, that's all I need to do. I'm totally done. I can now kick back, relax, and just let Azure build out my DevOps project. Now it's going to do 5 things. First, it's going to create for me the infrastructure up in Azure to host my Node.js app in a container. Next, it will create my team project in VSTS. Then it will add sample code into source control. And next, it's going to create a CI/CD pipeline for me. And when it's all done, it's going to kick off that build and release pipeline, deploying that sample app into the infrastructure it just provisioned. Now, when I say continuous integration, that is the process where every developer check-in kicks off the build. The build will download my latest code from source control, compile everything, run my unit test, and then it will package everything up for deployment. And if the build was successful, it will trigger release management, where release management will then download those build artifacts and deploy those artifacts into Azure. And the beauty of it all is that it does all of this in the cloud. There's no machines for you to build, no installations or configurations to do. Everything just works. And bam, looks like it's finished. Now this right here is the Azure DevOps Projects portal. And from this portal, I'm able to see everything. I can see that we have a code repo, we have a build and release pipeline, and we also have infrastructure deployed out into Azure. If I click on this link next to the code, it will take me directly to my repo in Visual Studio Team Services, where you can see this is just a Node.js application sitting in a Git repo. So if you wanted to customize this and put in your real code instead of the sample code, not a problem. Just a Git repo, just put your code in here. Now, going back to the portal, we're able to see this is the build that is created. Now, once again, if I click on this link, it'll take me directly into VSTS, into that specific build. And it's actually queued up a build, and it's already been successful. Let's go ahead and edit this so you can see exactly what it's doing. In this case here, the DevOps project is going to create for you a pipeline that makes sense for the technology that you picked. In this case, we wanted a Node.js app that will be containerized. So it's going to take our Node.js app, it's going to build a Docker image, and it's going to take that image and deploy it into push it out into Docker container registry. Right? And when that's done, it will go ahead and release. And if we want to see the release pipeline, let's go ahead and look at the release pipeline. So here's our release pipeline. We'll edit this, and you'll see that in our release, we're deploying it into one environment, and we're just taking that container and deploying it to app service. So now all of this just works. There's nothing more for you to do. There's no more configuration, no more coding that you need to do. Everything just works right out of the box for you. However, you still have complete control over everything. So if in your build you wanted to customize this and make it do other things, that's not a problem. Here's the build. The way that you customize builds in VSTS is by adding and removing tasks. And out of the box, VSTS comes with at least 100 tasks that you can just start using. And if what you want to do doesn't exist out of the box, well, go ahead and jump into the marketplace. Because in the marketplace, our partners have created over 500 build and release tasks that you can just download and start using. And if what you want to do doesn't exist out of the box and doesn't exist in the marketplace, that's not a problem. Because you can create your own custom tasks. Custom tasks in VSTS is nothing more than PowerShell or Node.js. So really, anything that you can do from the command line, you can easily do as a custom task as well. So whatever you want done, you absolutely can do this. Now, this is your build. You can do the same thing with your release. Now, right now, if we go ahead and look at our release pipeline, we build out a pipeline for you that makes sense for the technology that you picked. And we're only deploying into a dev environment. But it's simple enough for us to go ahead and build this out and turn this into a real release pipeline. So maybe I want to go from dev to a canary environment. And from my canary environment, I'll then want to go to my production environment. And if I wanted to modify or customize what tasks occur to deploy my application, you just dive into the different phases. And now, just like the build, the way that you customize is by adding and removing different tasks. And just like the build, out of the box, you have hundreds of tasks to choose. If it doesn't exist out of the box, go to the marketplace or create your own custom tasks. So you get full control over your pipeline, and it's super easy to customize it and to configure it and make it do whatever you want it to do. All right, now let's go ahead and jump back to our Azure DevOps portal. And here, if we click on this link, this will take us directly to the app that's already been deployed. And bam, here we go. Here's our Node app deployed into Azure as a Docker container running an app service. So there you go. We are the only cloud vendor that makes it so incredibly easy to go from nothing to a full DevOps pipeline ready for you to just jump in and start editing your code. Thank you.